Anytime there's anything bearish that happens with crypto Twitter fucking explodes in bearish propaganda. People who were telling you that the bull market is back on or that we're long hours ago are now being like 13K is fucking assured and I fucking told you so. Everyone wants to get their bottom targets out there. Trader Main, okay, back here, I posted about these targets way back there. I can't even find the tweets because I tweet so goddamn much that I don't even know where those tweets are, but they're there. I was talking about these levels ages ago. I do videos every single week. If you go watch old streams, I talk about the potential of way more fucking downside. So be aware, if things get uglier on the macro, things can get really ugly here. Because if we don't maintain this range, I don't see on the chart anything worthwhile stopping price until back here. And we never retested the 14K level. That is a legit level. And I know it's terrifying. Resistance, huge breakout. This is a legit level. 12 to 14K. 13K being the level, not here, right? But I had 20K. Previous all-time high. Look where we are. Close above, close above, close above. Now we're trading below. Just based on the monthly chart, this seems to be the next logical range to look at. But I had this 13K level on my charts and I posted it on Twitter and I talked about it on videos fucking ages ago. But the problem is I talk about it here, then this happens and everyone thinks the bull market's back on. I talk about it here, this happens, everyone thinks the bull market's back on. It's the same shit, different day. Reminds me of back in this last bull run that I was in. Every time we had one of these pumps off 6K, everyone thought we were going back to all-time high and I was like, no, we're not. And 6K ain't gonna hold. Anyways, I do think that this is a very logical level. As long as we're trading below the previous all-time high, I don't see why 13K isn't a level that you're paying attention to. Doesn't mean it has to go there, doesn't mean it will, but as long as we're trading below here, I don't know why you aren't at least aware of this level based on it being the monthly close of the last all-time high. It also capped the market right here. Once we broke it, we went on the fucking bull run that we just had. So this is an important level. Why I also like this level is if you take your measuring tool from the all-time high down to here, that puts us at about an 80% drawdown from all-time high. All of the previous bull runs from top to the new low pulled back between 80 and 85% on Bitcoin. Altcoins generally a lot more, 90, 95, some 99 and never came back. But like Ethereum did like a 90% pullback. But Bitcoin generally, when it has a bull run, the high to the low is about 80% or so. This one was high. Is this right? No, that's not right. Let's look at Bitstamp here. Oh, look, look at that. Look at this fucking chart I just randomly pulled up and it already had all of this shit on it for us. Where is this level? Oh, look at that. That 13K level's there. I don't even know when I used this Bitstamp chart, but it proves my point that I was already fucking talking about it. So again, 80%, right, would have put us at, around 13K. 84%. The bull run way back here, 86%. So it lines up very well. That 13K level with a previous key level of support and being in line with that 80% pullback from all-time high that's happened in each of the previous cycles. We're now trading below that last all-time high level. This seems like a level you want to pay attention to, in my opinion, if price does end up going down there. I don't know if it will for sure. I don't fucking know. But if it does, you definitely want to pay attention. The main difference that we have now is that the macro picture is different. Stocks were still in a bull run here and here. This entire time, stocks have been in a bull run. Now stocks are in a bear market. We are in a recession. Even though the government changed the definition of a recession, we are in a recession and it could get uglier, especially if what Powell is saying is going to happen. Stocks probably still trade lower. So what does that mean? Does that mean that we pull back more than 85%? Or does that just mean that maybe the bear market just lasts longer and the range that we form down here just lasts longer? Or maybe it gets way uglier. I don't fucking know. What I do know is that I'm playing level to level and I also have a plan. And I alluded to this on Twitter today. I personally think that Bitcoin probably bottoms somewhere between like $10,000 to $12,000. Maybe a little lower, maybe a little higher. I think Ethereum probably bottoms somewhere around $500. Maybe a little lower, maybe a little higher. It's very hard to pick the bottom. You're not gonna. Very few people just bought this and were like, that's the bottom, and then held it all the way up. Lots of people who bought this puked it as soon as it went up a little bit or went down a little bit, right? Because it's very fucking difficult to time the bottom and then to have the fucking gonads to stick with your plan. That being said, once the 6K floor broke, I was expecting it to break. So once it broke and we started capitulating down, I started buying spot. And I knew that I wasn't going to catch the bottom, but I knew I could get close. And I knew that my risk, at least back then, was literally zero. My risk was everything goes to zero. If I bought a Bitcoin at 5K, the risk on that Bitcoin was it going to zero. So once it broke the 6K floor, I started buying in the 5,000s and I started buying more in the 3,000s. And then when we put in this higher low, you can go back on Twitter. I mapped this exact higher low here into the order block. And I did the same thing on Ethereum. This higher low, I mapped it. Said this is a higher low. I think that's good. So I started buying here. And I bought. And my average price ended up somewhere in the 4,000s. It's not the low. Would you be pretty happy if you bought a bunch of Bitcoin at 4,000 and it went to 60K? Of course you would. So I think the same thing is applicable here. And I have a very similar plan. I personally think anywhere between 10 and 20K for the long term. Okay, this is not a trade. You should treat it like a trade because you still need to know where you want to enter and why and blah, blah, blah. But I think 10 and 20K long term, like if you believe Bitcoin sees all-time high again, which I do. Based on the last all-time high being 69,000, nice. I would say a conservative estimate is that it's gonna go beyond 70K, right? If you believe we're gonna see a new all-time high again, at the very least, we're gonna see 70K plus. So if you're buying between 10 and 20K, you're anywhere from a 3 to 7x on your spot buys. That's pretty fucking good. Let's say the bottom is 10K and you bought 25% at 20, 25% at 17.5, 25% at 12.5, and 25% at 10. Your average buy becomes like 15,000 bucks. Bitcoin goes to 70K. Do you think you really care that the bottom was 10 and it went to 70 when you bought at 15? No. So I personally don't believe dollar cost averaging is a meme, but you have to have a plan and you have to execute that plan intelligently. Because if you think buying between 10 and 20K is a good idea and you buy 75% of your stack at 20, are you going to be willing to hold that if it possibly goes as low as 10? Or are you going to puke it? So you still got to have a plan. You still got to know where that idea is wrong. You still got to execute. You still got to have the mental fortitude to be potentially in drawdown on some of your buys. That being said, if you're bullish on crypto long term, you think Bitcoin makes a new all-time high, I think long term between 10 and 20K is pretty good. If it bottoms at 10 and you average down to 15, you're stoked. But guess what? Let's say it bottoms at 15. At least you got some fills. And then when it gets back above 20, you can add more. Right? Because if you're like, no, it's bottoming at a 10, what if it never goes there? Think of all the people who wanted to buy 2K. Did you just never fucking buy? Or did you say, okay, I think it might bottom at 2, it goes down to 3, you buy some, then it starts going up, okay, now I need a plan to get more size in because it might not go as low as you think. So as much as I want it to go to 10 to 12K, maybe it doesn't go that low. So I need to have a plan to still get exposure regardless. Meaning maybe I start averaging in higher and I also have a plan saying, okay, well, once it's like confirmed bottom, like if we do something like this and we do some big range here and then we reclaim 20, I'm pretty confident we're not going to 10. So I'm gonna have to buy higher. You gotta be okay with that, right? But you gotta have a fucking plan. But I think between 10 and 20K long term, start at least considering building a position is not a bad idea. That being said, if you buy at 20 and it is going to go to 10, those 20K buys are going to look shitty for a while. My 5K buys, I had buys here, I bought here, and I bought here. Trust me, dude, for months, those buys felt awful, right? But I had a plan. So anyways, to summarize, I fucking told you so. Everyone's dumb except me, yada, yada, yada. Same old shit. How did I figure 6K wasn't going to hold? I looked at the chart. I said to myself, we just dumped off of all-time high. Like me and Don Alt became legends on Twitter during this bear market because so many accounts called for new all-time highs on every one of these fucking bounces, and me and Don Alt were just shorting them with authority. Because once we broke market structure here, what is this? The bouncy ball meme? I was posting this shit 4 fucking years ago. Every time we come down to 6K, the reaction we get from the level is smaller than the last. What does that tell me? That tells me that this level is running out of fucking juice, and it's just a matter of time before it fucking pukes. So it doesn't mean you couldn't have longed the level. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, arguably 5 easy ass longs. Every time it came down to 6K, you could basically long and make money. But each bounce was weaker than the last. That told me that this level was not gonna hold. That's the bouncy ball mean. It's a fucking descending triangle. Same shit. So what do you think's happening here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tests of this general area here. What do you think the odds are that this holds? I'm not saying it can't bounce, but you know, that's part of the reason why I do think we eventually trade lower.